afternoon. I don't even know what time of day it is right now. I am super happy to be here with you all today. There's a lot going on. We have a lot to share from our team. This is a really big year. There's new products that we're launching with exciting new technology that I'm going to share. There's a lot of regulatory things going on that I want to share a little bit of how you'll see that impacting some of our products down the future. And then you might have heard there was a recall announced yesterday. So I do want you to put questions in the Q&A, as Steph said, because questions are my favorite part of doing these webinars. But if you have recall questions, I am going to address that at the very end. So you might want to hold those questions until the end, just so it's easier for Steph to get through all of the questions that people have. I'm trying to make sure we have time available for that. So with that, let's talk about some of these new things that we have going on with our team. And I'm going to start by introducing some new technology. And fingers crossed, I have shared sound, so hopefully this video comes through for you.
We're gonna miss the bus. Yeah, I know, honey. I know.
Hey Siri, turn on sensory soothe handle.
So that's some new technology that we have coming from our team. We actually launched it in January at the Consumer Electronics Show. So that was really exciting for us to have something that was CES relevant and to be there and to share this technology at that time. So we're really excited about it. And I want to start by showing it to you on a couple of new infant car seats. And I'll say, you know, from the advocacy perspective, the thing to me that is most important about this technology in terms of safety is that we've all been in the back seats of vehicles where people are hanging toys and sound machines and other, you know, items on that carry handle. And why are they doing that? Well, they're doing it because they think it's going to make their baby happy. It's going to keep them entertained or occupied while they're in that vehicle. But we know that the risk of that is in a crash, those items can fly into the child's face, can detach from that handle, certainly not something that we want to have added on to that car seat. So in this case, we have integrated technology into that handle so that you don't need, and hopefully consumers won't feel the urge to add those items onto that handlebar. There's already this technology built in. So let's start with where this is going to be. The first infant car seat is called the LightMax Next. If you're familiar with the Evenflo line, LightMax should sound familiar. We've had a LightMax infant car seat around for many, many years at this point. I am happy to say that even after the regulatory updates later this year, LightMax, the original, will still exist in the world, but this is our next generation of LightMax. So this is the next update. You see the specs on the left-hand side of the screen. What I want to say to that is you can see we're starting this product at 3 pounds and 15.7 inches. For our team, because of you and because of what we have heard from advocates in the field, we feel it is very important to start our infant seats at 3 pounds. So we do a lot of work with local NICU partners, some of which are probably in the webinar right now, to confirm and validate fit with those smaller infants throughout the design and development process for these products. So we do start at 3 pounds. We start at 15.7 inches. What I'll say to the 15.7 is we chose that number not just out of the blue and random, but based on the fits that we had been doing with infants. And we just didn't have enough fits with infants smaller than that height range. So if you are working with an infant that is smaller and does actually fit the product, because, you know, height is important and relevant to the fit of that harness, send me an email. Provide me pictures, give me the specs for that child. And we do have our medical waiver program, and I have approved waivers before for infants that come under that 15.7 inch mark. So really, again, we put numbers here that we feel comfortable based on the numbers of babies we have seen in that product. And we just didn't have very many that were under that height limit. So this product does have a 7-position adjustable headrest. There is a Euro belt guide that we'll talk about in a little bit. And then we have body pillow, harness covers, buckle covers that are generally optional, meaning use them, don't use them. They're there for comfort and fit. The body pillow does have some requirements for our smallest infants, and we'll talk about that in just a little bit. This is the base for the LiteMax Next. It has 4 recline positions, and you can see that recline indicator, which is right above the recline adjustment button. There is a lock strong belt tensioner in the center of that base. If you're familiar with the Evenflo line, lock strong should sound familiar. We also have that in our Revolve 360 line. So we're trying to use some terminology and keep it consistent across our product line. This is a belt tensioner, as it is described. So it is tensioning that belt, whether it's the lower anchor system or the seat belt. It's tensioning it to give you a snug installation without a lot of effort, but you do still need to lock the seat belt. So if you need to switch a retractor, you would close the lock strong and then you would switch your retractor. There is an indicator, as you can't see it in this picture, but there's a red to green indicator. So you will have positive confirmation that that belt tensioner has been closed. So there's 2 different versions of this, and I like to give you this. Again, Steph has provided those slides for you, so you don't need to try to write any of this down. You'll have it in those slides, but I wanted to show you the 2 different price points for this product. I'm going to talk more about the infant carriers, but there's a second infant car seat that goes with this, so I'm going to talk about those collectively in just a few minutes. On the left-hand side, the opening price point version of this seat, and then on the right-hand side, we have the upgraded model that includes that soothing handle that you saw in the video. A couple of things that we didn't talk about yet. These both include sensor-safe technology incorporated into the chest clip. This, again, is something we've been doing with Evenflo for a very long time now. You see it on many of our products. It communicates via Bluetooth to the Evenflo app on the consumer's mobile device. Through the app, it's going to give you some alerts. Number 1, if the child, once that child has been seated with that chest clip buckled for 2 hours, you're going to get an alert reminding you that it's a good idea to take a stretch break. I think that's important. You'll get that alert for a long drive, or if you go from driving to putting that infant carrier directly onto the stroller and you're walking around running errands, you'll still get that alert. So we don't want kids in car seats for a super long period of time. We know that everybody needs to get out and take breaks. So we give you that alert at 2 hours. We also read the ambient air temperature around the child. You'll get alerts if it's too hot or too cold. You'll get alerts if the child unbuckles the chest clip. I know it's not likely with an infant car seat, but we have this on larger products as well. And then most importantly, and the whole reason Sensor Safe was created, is you will get an alert if we think the child has been unintentionally left behind in the vehicle. So if you have the child in that car seat, that chest clip is buckled, you break Bluetooth connection with the child with the chest clip, you're going to get an alert that we think that child has been left behind. These products both also feature our green and gentle fabric. This is some new fabric that we have that is actually manufactured using recycled plastic bottles. The weave of that fabric is inherently flame resistant, so it is also not treated with any additional chemical flame retardants. So that's that green and gentle, and then you can see they're both also Green Guard Gold certified for low chemical emissions. Then, as promised, we have another version, which is called the Revolve 180 LiteMax Next. So this, you can see the specs are exactly the same. These carriers within the LiteMax Next family are the same. So we're going to talk about some other carrier features in just a few minutes. The difference here on this product is the base and the rotating base specifically. So we're going to talk, I want to get into a little bit more detail about that before we go back and talk about some carrier features. This base still has the 4 recline positions and also has the recline indicator all in the same place. It still has a lock strong belt tensioner, but it looks a bit different. And I'm going to show you some pictures of how that opens in just a minute. There's a handle at the back of the base that you pull to open. There's still an indicator, and you can kind of see the indicator now. It turns red to green, so you again get that positive confirmation that you have closed the lock strong. This is still just a belt tensioner. You do need to use it even with lower anchors. So if you're doing a lower anchor install, you're going to open the lock strong, you're going to attach your lower anchor connector, pull to snug. But the idea is you don't have to pull to make it tight. You're just removing slack from that installation and then closing the belt tensioner, which will add that additional tension onto that webbing, whether it's the lower anchor webbing or the seatbelt webbing. Again, if you're installing with the seatbelt, you would still need a locked belt system. So if your lockability is in your retractor, then you're going to close the belt tensioner and then switch your retractor. But what is unique and magical about this base is the rotation. Now, this is a 180-degree rotation. You may be familiar with our Revolve 360 line, which is a 360-degree rotation. So why is this one different? Well, an infant car seat will never, ever be used facing the front of the vehicle. So in this case, you get 180 degrees of rotation, which gives you loading and unloading from either side of the vehicle, and then the rotation to face the rear of the vehicle only. You can see those rotation handles. They're what's circled in red on the left-hand side. You can rotate, or you can squeeze either one of them, not both, just whichever one is closest to you, and then you can rotate that base however you need. There is a rotation lock indicator right next to the rotation adjustment button, so make sure that is always green for travel. Just like our other Revolve 360s, you always want this seat to be locked in a rear-facing position for travel. Even if the child isn't in the product, it should always be locked green when you are traveling. And again, that indicator is on either side of the base. So from either side of the car, you'll be able to look and see that it is green and locked. The belt tensioner, that lock strong back here, you can see in the image from instructions on the left-hand side, there is a handle that you will pull. When you pull, it is spring-loaded, so it will pop up. What you see in the main picture is like the halfway open. You push up past the little detent and it will stay nice and open for you so you can route your belt. You can pull to make, again, remove slack, just give it a little bit of snugness, and then push down on that lock strong, which is what they are doing in this picture right here. There are 3 different versions of this product. Again, all 3 of them have that sensor safe technology in the chest clip. The opening price point version on the left just comes with that sensor safe technology, and it's Green Guard Gold certified for low chemical emissions, but has our standard fabric package. In the center, it comes and adds in that green and gentle fabric, so no added chemical flame retardants and made out of recycled materials. And then on the far right, you can see it still has the green and gentle fabric and adds in that sensory soothe handle. So lots of different options across these infant seats. Let's talk about them in a little bit more detail. I put the specs for each of the products over there on the right. They are slightly different in terms of overall dimensions because that rotating base does make the infant carrier sit up just a tiny bit taller in the vehicle. But again, the carriers are exactly the same. So the lowest harness height is 4.5 inches. The tallest is 12 inches. There are 3 buckle positions, which we'll talk about in just a moment. And these products have a 10-year expiration from the date of manufacture. You may have heard me say last year, all Evenflo products will be moving to that 10-year expiration from the date of manufacture. So that infant insert I mentioned was required for the smallest occupants. So from 3 to 6 pounds, you must keep the infant insert in the product. After that point, it is totally optional. So use it, don't use it. Again, it's there for comfort and fit for that infant. There are 3 buckle positions. We ship with the buckle in the middle slot, which is what we have found is the best for basically an average size newborn. But you have the closer slot in the rear, and certainly as that infant grows, you can move it out to the outer slot as well. If you're working with a smaller infant, we do also have the option to shorten that buckle. So you can go from that straight up and down kind of L-shaped buckle routing to that J route by taking the anchor plate and feeding it up through the neck slot to shorten the buckle. And that just kind of overall changes the way that that harness fits in that hip area for the smallest occupants. Again, then you would eventually un-J route that and have it just a standard routing, and you can again move out to any of these slots. So the handle positions across both of these both of these infant car seats. The good news for you is the answer for how do you use this in the vehicle is any locked position and you are fine. The slightly more confusing part is that we have the standard handle, which is the version that does not have that soothing technology built in, or you have the sensory soothe handle version, and they do have a different number of locked positions. But again, any of the locked positions is appropriate for use in vehicle. You do have that European belt guide, as I mentioned. So if you're going to install this baseless, that is our preferred method of installation. So there's a belt guide back behind that infant carrier. If you're not familiar with this routing, you can see it in the image on the right, where you take the shoulder belt and go back around the infant carrier. This is our preferred method because it really does provide some benefits, specifically in the crash. That shoulder belt coming around the carrier acts a little bit like a load leg in limiting that rotation of the infant carrier in the crash. But if you don't have enough belt webbing to go all the way around that infant carrier, you can certainly use the standard routing, which is just the lap belt across the infant car seat and the shoulder belt sitting back across the vehicle seat back. I also wanted to call out that level line location that you'd be looking for in a baseless installation. It's a little bit low on the product, so you can see it kind of over on the left. There is a blue arrow and then that level line. I just wanted to make sure you saw that because it's in a lower location. And this is certainly not technical, but allow me a moment to just say, look, we have some colors, and that's, I think, pretty exciting. So there's still a lot of black and gray, but now we're adding in some other neutrals. We've got some purples and some blues and a little bit of a coral pink happening. So it's just nice and fun to see different fashions finally. But again, all of these infant carriers are cross-compatible with either one of these bases. So anything within the NXT or the Next family is cross-compatible with each other. Now, the original LightMax cannot be used with these bases, and these infant carriers cannot be used with original LightMax bases. So I want to make sure that's clear. So essentially we have two different families happening. The original LightMax family, all cross-compatible with each other, and now the next generation Next LightMax family, those are also all cross-compatible within each other, just not across the family. And the other thing that I think is really exciting about these infant seats is that we have an accessory load leg that is compatible with both of the bases. There's two holes at the back of the base, so you insert the posts from this load leg. It is a really quick and easy installation, so it is available right now as an accessory that consumers can choose to purchase if they want to use it, if their vehicle allows for the use of a load leg. So it gives a little bit of flexibility to the consumer to determine what makes the most sense for their setup. We will have some SKUs of this product available later this year that do come with the load leg packaged in the box with the car seat and the base. But for now, and really for always, it will be available as that accessory item. So moving on, we also launched a new all-in-one car seat this year. This is called the All 4 Stages Slim. As the name suggests, there are 4 modes of use, so you can see those on the left-hand side of the screen. Rear-facing and forward-facing are also, generally pretty common in terms of our weight and height limits, so I'm not going to walk us through those. I did want to call out the high back and backless booster modes because we have made some adjustments to that are really going across a lot of our products. So high back booster mode, you'll see, has a slightly lower weight limit and a slightly lower height limit, because in high back booster mode, we do have the limiting factor of how that headrest can adjust and where that upper belt guide position is for that booster mode. In backless booster mode, we don't have that limiting factor. So we are increasing the weight limit to 120 pounds. We are also increasing the height limit to go over 4 feet 9 inches tall. So 57 inches, where you see high back booster, is 4 feet 9 inches tall. So we're going to 60 inches in backless booster mode, because there's really nothing magical about 4 feet 9 inches tall. Some kids might fit the vehicle seatbelt at that point, but not all will. And some taller kids that have a shorter torso may still need a little bit of a boost in the vehicle to have appropriate belt fit. So we're giving them a little bit more time in backless booster mode. You'll also note that we increased our minimum age requirement in booster mode to 5 years old, because we feel like that better aligns with that child's developmental maturity to use that mode. So, all that said there, let's talk about the product. It has a 12-position adjustable headrest with a no rethread harness. There are 6 recline positions. We're going to talk through those in just a minute. And there are some optional accessories. So a head pillow, a body pillow, buckle cover, and harness covers. Those are completely optional. Use it, don't use it. It, again, is there for comfort and fit. The exception is the head pillow and the body pillow can only be used in rear-facing mode, which is pretty consistent with our other multi-mode products in the Evenflo line. So totally optional to use rear-facing, must come out in forward-facing mode for that body pillow and the head pillow. We also have a second version of this product called All 4 Stages Slim Plus. So most notably on this version, you can see we add in this canopy, which is optional for rear-facing use. The canopy also has bubble levels up at the top. I'm going to show you a little bit more detail about the levels in just a minute. Also adds in a optional snack tray that goes into one of the cup holders and a leg rest that's incorporated into the soft goods. In terms of specs, most notably, this product is called Slim. It comes in at 16.9 inches wide, which includes the use of the cup holders. The lowest harness height is 6.5 inches. The tallest harness height is 18.5 inches, and the booster belt guide is at about 20 inches. The product itself weighs about 24 pounds, and it again has that 10-year expiration from the date of manufacture. I mentioned there were 6 recline positions. 4 of those are for rear-facing use, and they are labeled in blue. 2 of those are for forward-facing use, and they are labeled in red. And forward-facing would be forward-facing with the harness, as well as booster use. The recline adjustment handle you can see in the image on the left is in the center of that product, underneath where that CFA, our central front adjuster, is located. We have 2 recline zones on this product. We want it a little bit more reclined for the smaller occupants up to 22 pounds and a little bit more upright for those older kids up to 40 pounds. Both of the products have the label that you see at the top of the screen, and you can see those 2 different level lines and the instructions that the level line should be level with the ground. The Slim Plus version that includes the canopy also has a bubble level at the top of the head wings near that canopy. So I just want to call out that that has a slightly different looking, but ultimately similar recline range, that we want those smaller kids from 4 to 22 pounds to be a bit more reclined, and the larger kids 22 to 40 pounds to be a little bit more upright. So you can see that on that range as well. The buckle for this product has 2 different positions, an inner and an outer. In this product, we want the inner to be used at all times for rear facing and the outer to be used at all times for forward facing. Now, the product that you see in the image on the right is a little bit crazy looking. The easiest way to access that buckle to make those adjustments is to fully recline the car seat. So what you're looking at in that image is the fully reclined car seat, where then you can easily spot those buckle slots. The cup holders for this car seat have to be attached at all times. They are removable and they are dishwasher safe if you put them on the top rack of your dishwasher. So you can certainly take them off for cleaning, but they need to be used at all times when the product is installed. We do have belt guides on this product. They are labeled, again, or colored, I should say, blue for rear facing, just like the recline position is labeled blue for rear facing, and then red for forward facing. The belt guide is only used in a lap shoulder belt installation. The shoulder belt is slid into that belt guide, like you see on this picture, on the retractor side of the installation. So this is not locking the belt. It is really just holding the belt in position where we want that seatbelt to be in the belt path. You'll also note that there is a little bit of this hook for that lap belt. So in the image, we want that lap belt. I think maybe you can see my cursor here. We want the lap belt to be underneath that little hook, and then you'll pull to make things snug and slide the shoulder belt underneath that belt guide. Then again, you will still need a locked belt system. So in most cases, you would switch your vehicle retractor. You've seen already now, there are two different versions of this product. Both of them are GreenGuard Gold certified for low chemical emissions. So you can see the two price points on screen. And again, a non-technical moment. There's a tiny bit of color in this one, but there is a little bit of color, which makes me happy. But we're not done. We have more new. So this one has been a long time coming. This is a little bit more complicated than one would think for an accessory base. But this is the Shift Dual Ride accessory base. So it is finally an accessory base option for our Shift Dual Ride, which is our infant car seat and stroller combination. This is more complicated because many of you are familiar with this product, which allows you to use that car seat either with the wheels on and then use it as a stroller system, or you can remove it from the original base with the wheels off. So the complicating factor for this accessory base is that we wanted to make sure in whichever mode you might have the product, you would be able to attach it to this accessory base. So as an example, if I were to use this product with my child, drop them off at childcare in the morning and just take the infant carrier into the childcare, but my husband was the one picking up in the afternoon and had a base in the car, we wanted to make sure that just the infant carrier would be able to still attach to a base, or just the product with the wheels on would be able to attach to the base in those situations. Now, you can certainly install this product without a base, period. But we know, and consumers have been asking for this, consumers really appreciate that ability to have that second base so that they don't need to worry about the installation every time they take the product in and out of the car. So for those that are familiar with the dual ride base, this should still feel very similar. So it has the same lock strong belt tensioner, lower anchors, still comes with the wheel wells, has the same bubble indicator and 4 recline positions. All of those things are still consistent with this base, with one little exception that allows us to use either of these modes, wheels on or wheels off. So to attach the carrier, we've added in this car seat mode handle. So if you want to attach the product with the wheels on, you will align that arrow on the car seat mode handle to wheels on, and then you're able to attach the product all together with the stroller frame attached. If you only have the infant carrier, you would squeeze the handle and align the arrows with the wheels off mode, which allows you to attach to the base with the wheels off. So it took us a while. People were frustrated with us, I think, for not having an accessory base and not just selling them another dual ride standard base. But there was a method to our madness, and we really wanted to make sure that consumers would be able to use this base in either of those modes of use. And this definitely took a bit more engineering to get to this point, but we're excited that we finally have it. So all of these new products that I've talked about all come with quick start guides included in the box. Again, trying to help the consumer. We get it. Product instructions are a lot. They have a lot of information in them. So we try to give you just the down and dirty right out of the box. What do you need to know while referring back to product instructions? You can also see that there's a QR code on the quick start guide. There are QR codes on these products. We have created a ton of video content to help support consumers, because at the end of the day, we know that most consumers really do try to look for video information to help them through their car seat use. So we've tried to create a lot of that. So I'm going to take a short break for a drink of water, and I want to get into some regulatory updates next. So if you're not familiar, I'll refresh the memory. There have been some changes and some updates announced to 213, and they came kind of in 3 different pieces. The difference right now is that the first piece of this, which includes some updates to labels and to product registration cards, originally had a compliance deadline of December 5th. That was then changed and updated to be June 30th. So it aligns with the new side impact standard, which is known as 213A. So by June 30th of this year, we will have to manufacture products that both have some new requirements in terms of labeling. Forward-facing use, the new minimum is 26.5 pounds. You've seen that change already in our all 4 stages being at 30 pounds minimum for forward-facing. So there's some labeling and other requirements there. And then the all new side impact testing, which has been a huge engineering project over the last couple of years. All of our products have to be compliant to that by June 30th. Now, and then there's more. 213B is our updated frontal standard. So the updated frontal regulation still has a bit of time, December 5th of 2026, for us to be compliant there. All of these dates are manufactured dates. So the really important message with this is that car seats manufactured before these dates are still safe to use, and we can still sell them. So as long as the production date, the date it was manufactured, is before June 30th, you will still see current product on the market, and you will still see current product being sold, and that is okay. But on June 30th, anything that we produce in the factory, any date of manufacture, June 30th onward, has to be compliant with these amendments, which are some of these labeling changes, and the 213A regulation. And then we'll get to this point, later next year for the new frontal standard as well. This is a lot. There's a lot of information to take in here. So we created a number of FAQs that are live on our website now. So that URL is there. I think Brian Witt, one of our engineers, might be on the line. He was going to drop some of these URLs for me in the chat as we go. So this covers a number of different questions that we felt like consumers would probably have about this whole mess, because it is confusing. So I wanted to call out just a couple of those for you here. One of the questions is the car seat I bought previously with different weight ratings still safe? And of course, the answer there is yes. Any car seat that we produce meets or exceeds current regulations at their time of production. And that's what's important there. So you always want to review what is current on the labels and instructions for your specific car seat. And then, do the changes to weight and height limits that I see on the website affect my current car seat? And one of the areas that we think consumers may start to get confused is if, as an example, they bought one of our Revolve car seats last year and then decided, for baby number 2, they want to move them up to that car seat too. And when they go to buy that later this year, it's going to have different weight and height limits. And that might be confusing to people that are really paying some attention to what's going on. So we wanted to make sure to address that too, that especially those weight and height limits, this is not a retroactive change. You always follow the labels on the product that you have. Or if you're a car seat technician working with that family in the field, you follow the labels on the product that is in front of you in that moment. So again, more information in those FAQs too. So a couple of things I want to call out for our products that you'll start to see, and by that I mean our existing products that will now have some updates. So Nurture Max, there's no updates to the specs. You can see those over on the left-hand side. Nurture Max, if you're not familiar, is our opening price point infant car seat. It is super lightweight. It has a really nice one-hand adjust handle and just 4 harness positions with basic upfront attachment. What we have updated with this product is the attachment to the base, and those are now shipping. I get that question a lot from technicians, so I'm happy to say that these updated versions with this new, we call it the horseshoe, on the carrier, those are now shipping. So this is just a little bit of plastic on the infant carrier that helps to guide you with where you place that infant carrier underneath the hook on the base. So again, shipping now, yay, super excited. Then we have our Chase. So this is a combination seat, forward facing only, has harness mode and has a high back booster mode. This product has been around for a very long time and it is still moving forward. So you can see it's moving forward, but with some changes. And some of these changes, you're going to start to see things that look and feel maybe a little bit different on existing product. And this is a lot to do with that 213A updated side impact regulation. So you can see this has some pods at the side of the headrest area. We call these our lifeguard or linear impact force engineered. So specific for that side impact performance. You'll see this on a lot of products going forward. Whether it looks like this is not quite the thing, but sometimes you'll see this added into the soft goods, which is what we've done here. Sometimes you'll see this as harder plastic pods that are on the exterior of the shell of that car seat. So it might look or feel a little bit different, but different ways that we're managing some of that energy in that side impact crash event. And for some of these products, what you see here today is maybe not what is permanently going to happen with this product too. So with Chase, I'll say just be on the lookout because there are some more changes coming that I think will make the advocacy community happy. If you are using this product, I just wanted to make a call out here that, again, this is an update that we've made kind of within the soft goods. We've added some EPS foam into that headrest area. When you are washing these soft goods, and we allow machine washing and drying for all of our soft goods, you do need to remove that foam. And then we have information, I pulled this straight from product instructions on how to reinsert that EPS foam after washing. Additionally, with existing product, I wanted to highlight some of the changes you'll find with our Revolve 360 line. So again, you'll see specs on the left-hand side are a little bit different in that forward-facing mode in particular. You see the lifeguard, that linear impact force engineered side impact pod on the side of the product. But then we've also added something else that we'll talk about in just a minute. And I'll say on this one, on Extend, the original looks pretty similar to this too. So the 40-pound rear-facing version also has these lifeguard updates as well. And then I just wanted to call that out again on Slim. So this is our narrower version at 16.7 inches wide for Revolve. This is only convertible, doesn't have that high back booster mode. The lifeguard side impact pods are in a slightly different location, but still there. And then the forward facing mode, again, that minimum weight and height limit has increased for this product as well. So on both of these products, we've made another update, and really I should say all three of them. So for the original, the Extend, and the Slim, we've added in this seat release feature. So you can see that at the front. It's easier to show it on the Slim since it doesn't have that little leg rest. So you can see it there at the front of the Slim. So basically, this is giving you just one extra step in order to remove the shell from the base. So on current versions, you rotate the seat to align the arrows. And you can see these two white arrows at the front on the top left image. You're still going to do that here. On the original versions, once you align the arrows, you can just lift the car seat off the base and remove it. On this updated version, you will take our seat release tool, and at this point, once you've aligned the arrows, you will insert the tool until you hear a click, and then you will lift to remove. Once you align these arrows now, the seat will really, it has like a detent there, so it will sit and stay in that location. And then you only insert the tool until you hear the click, and then you can remove the tool. And then again, you can lift to remove. Now you can lift with the harness. I feel like sometimes technicians think that's taboo. You can certainly use that harness webbing to lift up and off the base. And then, the whole point of this for us is that you have this nice open base that makes an easier installation for the consumer. This tool is bright yellow. It has a storage location on the back of the shell where you install that instruction manual. You can also store this tool. However, we know that consumers may lose it. So you can also use the buckle tongue of a vehicle belt system. We made sure that that opening was wide enough so that you can also insert that metal buckle tongue or any other flat object into that seat release in order to remove the shell from the base. Okay, so on to this recall situation, and then we'll have time for questions, and I can see that there are a lot of questions over there. So yesterday we announced a recall. So NHTSA sent out the notification for this. I wanted to call out specifically, like in this recall notification, a few things that when any recall comes out, I think are really important for you to look at. So at the very top, it highlights what the issue is. In this case, it is the reason for non-compliance. And let me be very clear on this. The reason for non-compliance is because the wrong registration card was sent to consumers. So in this small number, so the total impact here is 1,068 seats. So out of 1,068 seats over a 5-year period, the consumer was inadvertently able to purchase a Canadian product in the United States. So when they received their Canadian product in the United States, they received a Canadian registration card. Therefore, because they did not have the US registration card, it is not compliant with 213 because we do not have the correct registration card attached to the product. So this is only about the registration card. All other aspects of performance and compliance are compliant with 213 regulation. So from a safety perspective, you can absolutely continue to use this product. So under what happens next in the remedy, that's always an important place to look when you're looking up recall information. We note that Evenflo will send owners a correct registration card from the US. Now, you're probably saying if they didn't have a registration card or they had this Canadian one, how do we know to do that? Well, most of these were purchased via e-commerce platforms. So we have purchase information for most of these products, and therefore we already have contact information. We can send that out. And some of these consumers registered their product just using the Canadian form. So we have that information as well. How do you know if your product is affected? There's 20 different models that were affected over a 5-year period of time. Again, only 1,068 units were actually affected. So if you happen to have one of those models that you purchased within the time period, you can look at your product and look at the model number. A Canadian product in our line always ends the model number with the letter C for Canada. If you see a model number that has the letter C at the end, that is a Canadian product. It will also have English and French labels. So that would be another clue. So in that case, you may have received a Canadian registration card and we would send you an updated US registration card. This URL at the bottom of the screen is the NHTSA campaign notice. But, just for full disclosure here, this is what we're talking about. A US registration card on the left and the Canada registration card on the right. we ask for the same information on both of the cards for the most part, other than like state and province being different. And the Canadian card has a bunch of French on it as well, because that is one of their required languages. So at the end of the day, everything is safe. However, there was a notification that was sent out this morning from Amazon to anybody that purchased one of these products over within that time period, saying, stop using the following item because of a potential safety issue. There is no reason to stop using any of these products. This is about a registration card. So my hope is this opens up a conversation for people to understand the importance of registering their products. I checked in with the team, and by the team, I mean our customer service team, at noon today. At noon, they had responded to over 760 emails and 400 phone calls, and that was just at noon. It is never okay to incite panic in the event of a recall. This is just the registration card. And you don't even need the registration card because you can register the product online right there on our website. So again, it's 1,068 car seats, but there are 20 different models over a 5-year period of time that we were able to go back and notice that these US consumers had inadvertently received these Canadian products. So we wanted to make sure we did our due diligence. We added all of those items in. We're certainly in some communication with Amazon right now too. But again, if this helps to have a conversation. I've seen the social posts. There are consumers out there that are saying, but wait, what is the registration card? So these are little things that, I'm teaching the certification class next week. Always excited to teach the certification class. But I think, we take for granted the registration card. That's the easy part, right? You fill this out and, you'll be notified in a recall. We can't take for granted that consumers don't understand all of these things. And in particular, they might not really understand why they would need to fill out this information and how it can benefit them. And they certainly don't understand how inconsequential a recall that is just about the registration card is when they receive a notice that says, stop using this product. So I just wanted to share that with you. I want to say a huge thank you because I have been trying to watch some of the social and the chaos of today. And I've seen a lot of technicians doing really amazing education and helping to help consumers understand what these issues are and why they should be registering those products. So really thank you to you. And with that, before we take questions, I do want to say, as another thank you, we do have a little giveaway. And sorry for my Canadian friends. I did see a few of you online. This one is just US residents only because it's all I have right this minute. But we are going to give away one LightMax Next with Sensory Soothe, that's the non-rotating version, and one Revolve 180 LightMax Next with Sensory Soothe, that's the rotating version. So Steph will do a drawing later. She'll post that out on Facebook for you. So again, thank you for everything that you do. You guys are amazing and doing a lot to help consumers understand these really complicated things happening in the industry right now. So that's my contact information. Steph, I almost made it to 10 minutes of questions, but I think we still have some time.
You did great. You did great. We're at 8 minutes, so we are good. And there are a lot of questions. And I think that the timing of this webinar was great, that clarifying that recall was fabulous. So thank you for that, Sarah. Appreciate that. For those that usually ask, the giveaways National CPS Certification Facebook page is where I will do a random select, and I will post those right away this afternoon, as well as the winners. Sarah will reach out to you and get your contact information of where to send those car seats to. So appreciate you, Sarah, and Evenflo for those great giveaways. That's awesome. I'm just going to go back to the start of when these questions came in. And Aaron was wondering, will the new update still require the space between infant seat and passenger seat?
Yep. So what Aaron is talking about there is that all Evenflo infant car seats, including these two new LightMax Next and Revolve 180 LightMax Next, if you are installing it directly behind the driver or the passenger, we ask that you put 1.5 inches, which is for me about 2 finger widths of space between the carrier and that front seat in front of it. This only applies to our infant car seats. It only applies if you are directly behind a front vehicle seat. So if you're installing in the center of that vehicle, it doesn't matter. You can, touch either side of those front seats. That would be fine. In this case, we want to have room for that car seat to rebound in the event that that vehicle seat back in the front of the vehicle may break backwards, or may just the way that it works in certain types of crashes, like a rear impact crash. So it may deform backwards towards that occupant. We want to make sure the infant car seat, which is not nearly as big or as structured as a multi-mode seat, we want to give it time to rebound.
Perfect. There were a few questions about the Sensory Soothe. The one was, any idea if the voice activation for Sensory Soothe would work well for twins? Would both seats respond at the same time?
So Carly, I see that. I will confirm with our technology manager. I know that you would set up 2 different carriers for the 2 different children, and that you can communicate with each of those separately in the app. I think if you use voice activation, it does currently communicate to both, but I think they were working on an app update for that. And the beauty of an app is we're always working in the background with that. And then you don't need to buy a new thing. You just get some of these updates. So I think that's one that we're working on in the background, but I'm going to confirm.
Okay. And then a follow-up with the app. Is there a fee for the app?
Absolutely not. So the app is free. You could download it now. I mean, you don't need to have an Evenflo product in front of you to download the app. It's in either the Google or Apple stores. It's called the Evenflo app. And it also gives you instruction or access to product instructions and other contact information. And so there's other useful information in it.
Okay. Karen is asking Sarah about the 10-year expiration versus the 6 to 7 year from before. Has there been improvements to allow that seat to last longer?
No, manufacturers have always had the ability to set that expiration period to what they felt like was appropriate for their products. So I think, the industry standard for a long time was 6 years, and that's sort of where we were with a lot of our products. And then for us as a brand, as we started to have more these longer lasting multi-mode products, so something that was designed to go from birth until booster, we started to increase some of our expiration periods because we would expect one child to be able to use that for a longer period of time. And then this year, with all of these regulatory changes happening, and really I should say like last year, we started to have some conversations that now is the time, if we wanted to make some updates, what else did we want to do? And that's where you saw we increased that booster minimum age. And the product expiration period was one of those things. We're working through a lot of sustainability work across the company right now. We felt like that fit well within our sustainability initiative, that if we can allow that consumer to use these products, which are, again, perfectly fine to continue to use in that time frame, we feel confident with all of the other testing that we do, that they can hold up over that period of time, that allowing that consumer to use this product that they've already purchased was the right thing to do. So that's where we've made those updates. Now, that being said, this is not a retroactive update either. So you always follow the information that is provided on the product in front of you.
And I think that that's such a great way to put that. Follow the information of the product in front of you, because many questions come up about that. So I like that way of putting that. This was asked a couple of times, and I believe that you did cover it well a little later on in your presentation, but I want to make sure that everyone is clear. Are there LightMax NXT carriers interchangeable with the rotating and non-rotating bases?
They sure are. So within the NXT family, the carriers and the bases are completely interchangeable. They are only not interchangeable with the original version of LightMax and those bases.
Okay. Megan asked about the cup holders on the new convertible. Are they easy to remove, or does it take some effort AKA toddler proof?
We actually made them a little bit more difficult to remove during our production for this product. So I think they are a little bit more difficult to remove, and I certainly think they are toddler proof.
Okay. And then also talking about the LightMax NXT seats, will it have multiple hip strap slots, or does mandatory use of the insert provide better fit for small babies?
There are 2 hip strap slots. They are not mandatory, so you can make that adjustment to that inner hip strap if you would like for a smaller infant.
Okay. And then Samantha asked that she did hear you say that all Evenflo soft goods are machine wash and dry safe. Is that for the new seats or for every seat?
I love this question. Y'all, I have been with Evenflo for almost 11 years now, and this has been in place long before my time with Evenflo. So every one of our products, all of those soft goods are all machine wash, and you may tumble dry on low for 10 to 15 minutes. Every one of them, from institutional through the fancy green and gentle fabrics, all of them.
That's great. That's great. Couple more questions. And if I didn't get to your questions, you see in the slide in front of you, please, you're going to have that on your handouts. But Sarah, reach out to you if there are other questions or what.
Absolutely. Yep.
Okay, perfect. Meredith was asking, will the Nurture Max be going to the 30-pound max weight?
Unfortunately, not at this time. So what I had on screen, the weight limits as they are today are the weight limits that are still going forward with Nurture Max.
Okay. And then lastly, just that tech discount. Sarah, can you just give clarification on that for us before we end today?
I would love to. So the tech discount, you can just send me an email. Please send me a copy of your certification card when you email, and then I will give you the discount information. And it is not single use forever. You know, we're okay with you using it more than once. We do monitor it to make sure there isn't abuse, but we are happy to provide that as a thank you to you.